So I managed to do it on my mom's side.
I don't know. I mean, I have I have like what they handed out at the funeral. I have the obituary, but I mean, I could try it without it, but I mean, it's so recent. I should be able to get it so easily.
Right.
And it's not online.
It's just hard to be patient.
Yeah.
It's just hard to be patient.
Yeah.
All right, is everybody ready to go?
Yep. We
Yes.
are ready. So this is the, I think, hopefully one of the final meetings of the Lewis Planning Commission's Action Plan Subcommittee. It's a Zoom meeting on December 8th at 3:30. And what we have is the revised master chart that Janelle created and updated with comments received in this last month. And hopefully everybody had a chance to look it over. And so Janelle, overall, there weren't a lot of changes submitted.
There were not. There were 2 additions. One was for landscaping to include environmental benefits, and one regarding open space to require meaningful, usable, communal, recreational open space. So if you want to rank those, if you believe you want to look at those, we can do that. Somebody did mention parking regulations, which is already in there, so that can take any different type of form.
And I just want to raise, while we're looking at things and ranking them, I found it odd that and I mean, I participated in this, you know. I found it odd that we ranked sea level rise as high in terms of a priority, but then all of the actions under it, not a single one of them is ranked as high. So it kind of leads one to question, are we missing, like, what, have we not figured out what the highest priority action is? Or is the sum of all these medium rated actions enough to address what we think of as a high priority area?
I'll be honest, I thought someone from the Sea Level Rise Committee would give us some guidance, and they haven't. Other than saying all of, I mean, I sort of interpreted it when we did this as to mean that everything is about the same level of urgency. But is there something you think we should make a high priority? What would you think?
I don't know. I guess I would have thought the ordinance, if you were saying what's the thing that's going to have a bigger impact, maybe that, or
The projections?
the projections, yeah.
Yeah, but we have no control over those projections.
Yeah.
Okay, so the ordinance.
Easy to tell someone else it's their high priority, perhaps.
And I know they're planning on looking at that actually next year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I believe that's what they said when I last heard.
Okay, so then it sounds like, can we make the ordinance the high priority?
What do others think?
I would think that, I think I agree with you on marking that whole category high, but I also agree with Kay. I think the whole topic overall is pretty high up on everybody's priorities. But if we were going to rank them within this group, I definitely think that ordinance should be high. I mean, if that's really what that committee is working towards, I agree. I wish we had a little bit, you know, see what some of them had thought, but yeah, the ordinance should be high, and
Okay.
I think everything else is going to fall in place and should be followed up pretty close after. Should it all be labeled high, except for the projections? I believe, is that just coming off?
So make the ordinance, the adapt historic structures, keep new construction out of the way, and well, raising streets we have as low. So maybe just take, other than the state committee, make the other 2 mediums high as well. So the first, the third, and the fourth items will make high.
I think is sound to me.
Okay.
Question for Kay.
Sure.
When you say keep new construction out of the way, you mean vertically or horizontally? I mean, because
Well,
we have the
one
freeboard
follows
height.
the other.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's, are you wanting to keep new construction out of a floodplain, or are you saying it's okay because we can go higher and higher? I mean, it's
I
either
think
way.
they're gonna have to figure that out.
And I think
Whether,
that's why it's
you know,
under
oh, go ahead.
difficult.
Yeah,
Yes.
It's
okay.
something that's
Well, 'cause if
gonna
you,
take some
yeah.
time.
if you raise
Two-dimensional.
the freeboard, are you willing to raise the overall height of the buildings? That kind of thing. And I think that's why the sea level rise committee has to deal with that one. And we'll see what they come up with.
Okay.
Was there anything else other than the two new items that anybody had?
Janelle, did you get my comments in the mailbox?
I did.
Okay.
Those go towards a specific ordinance,
Okay.
not specifically towards ranking the items on the list.
Correct. Okay. I just want to make sure you got those out there.
Yep.
Thank
Yes, I did. They're sitting on my desk.
For the two new items, I was thinking medium, but I don't know what everybody else thinks. What does everybody else think on the two new items?
Well, again, I'm curious about open space. I mean, the request is required meaningful, usable, communal, recreational open space. If this is in new developments, if it's a new development within the existing neighborhood, there's probably no way to make any connections. I mean, to connect the open space that's being created to anything that's around there. I mean,
I think this is intended to prevent, at least this is what I recognize this as. We have a new community was presented to us, and all of the open space was basically like 1 or 2 feet wide next to the curbs. It wasn't anything you could actually use, and yet mathematically it fit the bill. But it skirted the intent of, I think, the idea of having some open space is a nice place where you could go walk or walk your dog or go play catch with your kids. And in this community, there was none. So I think that's what that was. That's how I interpreted that. I don't know what anyone else thought.
Yeah.
I agree with the two mediums. And I think we need to correct, there's a typo on landscape.
Okay, I can fix that.
Oh, and include too is a
Oh, right.
transpo. Overall, though, are there any, I mean, do you think we're ready to give this then to the rest of the planning commission with the hope that we'll get the nod to give this to mayor and council in January? Anything else? I mean, it's huge.
We may have to take some time to explain it to them.
Well, yes, and actually, Janelle and I were talking about how I think one suggestion that came up a couple months ago was that we have a template of a report to make the transition from planning commission, well-known thing that we're working on, to mayor and council. What was the thought behind this? And so I think Janelle was hoping to work up a template, and this would be the first project that would really have this subcommittee presentation template. And I think that that's going to be necessary because a lot of people won't have heard about it, except when it comes to mayor and council, and then be like, what's this all about? So that templated report would have that. Janelle, do you think this is doable if we get the okay from planning commission next week to do that report?
I think absolutely, because if you've noticed, I've kind of started tweaking that and putting that into some of the reports you've already started seeing. Especially, I think the last meeting for some of the subcommittee reports, I started just starting to ease into it to see what everybody thought. But yeah, definitely we can provide this. If there's a different type of presentation, just let me know and I can help, if you want to break this down by category, by section, we can do that in a different type of presentation as well, and not just
Okay.
a report.
Okay. Because, I mean, I don't know whether they want to know how many meetings we worked on it, that kind of thing. I mean, I was kind of keeping track of that, when it was assigned to us, how fast we turned it around. I don't know if that kind of statistic is an important part of this format or not.
My guess, and you guys can all tell me what you guys think, is that what I think the commission, council, and especially the public are looking for are, what's the purpose? How did we come up with what we came up with? What do you guys perceive as the priorities from the subcommittee that you want to present then to the commission? And then the commission will take that, discuss that, and then make that recommendation. And then that'll get turned around into another report to council to going, okay, based on this action and then commission action, this is what, is coming out of it, and the reasoning and some of the background behind it.
Okay. All right. And will you present this report to mayor and council?
I think the intent was to have the chairs presented to council, and I'm definitely there to help fill in blanks and provide additional information.
Okay.
Unless you guys want me to, I'm here to help however I can.
Okay. And that's fine. I just wanted to make sure I understood what we were doing with this. So in general, though, everyone's pretty comfortable on this?
The format that we're putting this into, the template, will we be putting some more words around what each of these actions is? Because I think, I'm not sure everyone on council will appreciate what each of them involves.
I think we'll have to explain the difficulty, the time frame, and the ranking. And I think also just to explain that one thing that we've been concerned about is some of these things might take 2 or 3 years and need a consultant. So there's a budgetary aspect to it, understand that we're in a pandemic. And so these are the things that we've been considering.
Wasn't that also part of the purpose of this, was looking at changing these things and saying, hey, these are the bigger items we're going to need help with. We're going to need funding. Do we want to take these on this year? We also have the comprehensive plan coming up, correct?
That'll be in a couple of years.
Oh, we're
Yeah.
2 years out from that. Okay, right.
It's
But
called the
it'll come
2015 plan,
fast.
but technically didn't get adopted until like 2017, 2018.
27.
Technically have a couple extra years for that.
Before my time,
But it is overwhelming. Once it happens, it's
Yeah.
really pretty terrifying as far as workload and homework. It's a relentless project for sure.
And I think this is also a good way to make sure that the commission and council are on the same path. So, we're not working opposite of each other, we're working with each other, And I think it also goes, okay, it's like, okay, well, we know we have a big project this year or next year, so we can put that in the budget, but what little things have we recognized can we get done? Maybe not as a high priority, but some of those lower hanging fruit we can get done that won't take as much time, but are still on the list that need to be addressed. Because I think you want to do, because not all of this will get done in the next year.
Right.
That would,
Right.
I don't think we would have time. But it's like, that's
No,
why you
but-
prioritize and figure out, it's like, okay, what do we want to get done this year? It's like, okay, we know we might need help this year, but that item over there won't take as much time, might be a little bit lower hanging fruit, but we can get that done easier and still keep things coming off the list.
Well, and the other thing is, just because something's a low priority doesn't mean it's not a priority. It just kind of indicates in the scheme of things. But if some people have time to snag something off this list, that would be perfect. And the other thing I would say is, Planning Commission is a really strong membership now, because there's no way a few years ago we could have come up with this list or tackled this list. So I think everybody should feel good that this is where we are, because we're volunteers. And it's a huge, serious technical list. So it's a big thing.
And I think also is, I've been getting a bunch of questions, and I see this as kind of maybe turning into multiple lists. One for Planning Commission, because not everything on this list is something you guys are in charge of or going to end up working on. So we can just have Planning Commission lists. We can have a staff list. We can have a council list, you know, and see kind of where they all fall.
Yeah, mitigation, H-Park. I mean, there's a lot. This involves a lot of different people. And I think that's good, kind of nice when you get to sort of mix up who you're working with and get to know other groups and other people. I wish we weren't stuck with Zoom and we could sort of have, you know, how mayor and council has that meeting in January, February, like what are we doing? It'd be kind of nice if, when we get back to being able to be in person, if all of the Lewis committees could kind of get together and talk about who needs what, how can we help you out, what's going on with you, and just kind of get to know each other again and work together on a lot of this. So I don't know, maybe 2021. Yeah, 2021, maybe we'll see it. So any other change, oh, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, I know I'll be listening in on Friday when council has their discussion of priorities. And I know a lot of that, you know, Janelle was mentioning to me, a lot of it will be capital projects. But, you know, we probably should just, listen. And if something comes up that isn't on this list, that might be our last chance to add it on. And especially if it's come up there, it's top of mind for council. So.
Yeah, no, that's excellent. That's excellent. I have an appointment at 9, but I'll try and get in and get on it as fast as I can.
Well, and also like this one, we'll record it and then it'll be uploaded to the city's YouTube page. So you can always go back and watch it. And I think also remember, as things come off, I expect things could be added to the list.
I'm sure.
So council might have an entire list just as long. And then it's like, okay, so how do we, you know, balance those out? So I think it's just, you know, well, we have a list of that we've recognized the importance. They're completely different things coming from council. And then just finding that balance of, okay, priorities. How do they mesh out and how do we then tackle what needs to be done?
Right, what's uppermost? Well, I think it's a very impressive list. I mean, it's a scary technical list and it's huge. So this just shows the strength of this group of people who can tackle this kind of thing and, you know, get it done. So I think it's excellent. So I have a question about something ancillary, but related. Does anybody have any other changes for the chart?
Well, no, I have a question for Janelle. Landscaping just reminded me about the Historic Byways Committee. Any sign or sight of them? I mean, they typically have input on landscaping.
I think it depends on how this ends up evolving as a landscape item. That's then how it will be addressed. Because again, it's a topic, but you know, I put down generally who I thought it was going to be responsible. That doesn't mean you can't bring other people in.
Yeah.
So if it ends up, you know, impacting the byways or you want their feedback, that definitely can happen.
But have you seen any byways activity lately? Any meetings or anything? Because nothing's been posted.
Yeah, so they're their own separate entity now.
Mm-hmm.
They did meet, I want to say last month, and they're working on getting another meeting set later this month.
Oh, okay. So they're out there somewhere.
They are.
All right, just want to be sure. All right, thank you.
Any other questions? So Janelle, you can make those changes and we'll present this. You're so good. You're so good. Now, may I ask a question regarding this group of people? about the water resources protection areas, source water protection overlay assignment. Is anyone up to speed on this assignment? You're so good. I have not, I mean, now I feel like I can get started on this. I'm wondering what everyone thinks about a reasonable first meeting to discuss this, knowing that it's December.
So the intent here, and just so we can make sure we're staying on the agenda for this meeting, is that an item was handed down from council to the commission to look at regarding the source water protection overlay zone, regarding the excellent recharge area that has some limitations on the amount of impervious surface area. So staff has done some research and consulted with some other agencies about ways to address some of that by allowing so this actually should be on the prioritization list, so I think I can skirt this a little bit. So it's an item on the prioritization.
Right, I don't mean to stray, but as long as we got everybody.
And what it is instead of reducing the excellent recharge area for the impervious surface, it was if you do certain best management practices, green solutions, green technologies, you can get back to a higher impervious surface, because usually the impervious surface is around, it's very limited to like 20 or 25%, and don't hold me to that because I don't have the numbers memorized, which normally would be like 55%. So you're losing a lot of impervious. So the intent is to look at an ordinance which has kind of been drafted, which is actually very similar to something that the sea level rise subcommittee is looking at, is you do some best management practices, pervious surfaces, rain gardens, rain barrels, certain types of landscaping that you can take your impervious surface area back up and increase that instead of being limited at a certain number.
Okay. Okay. So do we dare ask to have a meeting set up, or do I not dare do that on this agenda, Janelle?
I would not do this on this agenda because that is a completely different subcommittee.
Okay.
But after I stop recording, you can take a straw poll and see who can meet when after this meeting's adjourned.
Right. Okay. Are there any other items on this agenda? In that case, I will say we'll adjourn this meeting at 3:55, but stay on for a straw poll of when we can meet